Hello and welcome back to the Horror Academic. It's Tuesday, and my movie last night is gonna be from the category of I know I should have watched this years ago, but I'm sorry I'm late. I finally watched The Wicker Man. I've been hearing about this movie forever, and I just didn't get around to it. So, have the time. So I finally watched it, and I was not at all what I expected. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Um, I kind of, I know it's featuring Christopher Lee. It was made in, what year was this? 1973. I mean, I kind of expected it going in that it was going to be like a Hammer film, some sort of gothic or uh, period piece with beautiful castles. And I don't know. I knew it was in the countryside of either Ireland or Scotland, but I didn't really know a hell of a lot about it. And, it had something to do with May, the maypole and all that. Um, so it was pretty out there. It was really different. I know now why, even though I hadn't seen it, I was already comparing Midsummer to it. It's definitely um, a strange movie. I don't see how it was released in America ever. At the time, and I guess it just didn't hit theaters. We were thinking maybe it hit grindhouse theaters, but yeah, there's a lot of nudity, a lot of sex. It's just like, yeah, I don't think America would have done that yet. So, it's basically the story of a policeman who's sent to the small village, an island village in Scotland, to investigate a missing persons, a missing child report. And he comes to discover that not only is the entire town kind of in cahoots of not giving him information, but that they are pagans. They completely still follow the old ways, as they say. And as it being May, or getting ready for May Day, they are full-fledged. The celebrations are a go for their fertility seasonal harvest festival. So there's lots of hares, not rabbits, and there are um, lessons to the children about phallic symbols and, uh, you know, mating rituals and things like this. And there's naked women running around singing, old, you know, uh, doing rites of passage essentially. And one of the things I did not expect, it is a musical. There are all these um, pagan rituals, but they're all done in song. So a lot of singing going on. And then very early, one of the first places he goes, his first night there is like the local pub, and all the old men are lined up and the young men lined up, and they do a number. They sing an old ditty, and everyone has their part, and it's just that's what we're kind of laughing about. It's like it's not uncommon that you would see like a movie where you go to some place in the British Isles, and everyone knows all the words, and a couple of guys with a fiddle, and all of a sudden everyone's in song. But the fact that they each had a line to sing and they knew it was their time, that was kind of funny. But you definitely get the feeling that this was the sorry about my computer, I always forget it does that. But it's the inspiration for the Slaughtered Lamb pub in many ways, I felt, from American Werewolf in London. But Christopher Lee, when he does show up, it takes a while for them to get to him. I was surprised, but he is the lord over this land, and he's brilliant in this film. And he's even though this is after the initial Hammer Dracula films, he still looks so young compared to what I think of him as Christopher Lee, in most of my lifetime. But fairly glib to this kind of pious, you know, righteous man who comes to their village as an outsider and starts telling them what they're doing is wrong. I think I had some confusions. This is kind of my history and history and religion confusions here of how the whole thing goes with Scotland, knowing that it was this. Was the policeman, was he, to me it felt like he was Catholic, because he is thinking of the ritual of Sunday bread, of taking the wine and the bread and the Eucharist. But I'm not sure. Maybe is he Protestant? Is he Catholic? I get confused over these dividing lines over there, which I guess is kind of what the history of Ireland and Scotland is all about. But so here he comes with his ideals of life and what children are to be taught, and what are the right ways to live. And here's a man who looks to be in his 40s, maybe 30s, who is promised to someone. He is engaged to be married, but he is still a virgin because he does not believe in sex before marriage. And here he is surrounded by a village of people who are getting ready to prepare for this festival. And literally there's scenes of people just coupling in the streets, and he's just kind of walking, and it's really stylized. It's in slow motion as he walks through them, and he's just aghast, and he doesn't know what to do with himself. And they're kind of almost torturing him with kind of the barmaid in particular, by seducing him even though he won't partake. And and the film kind of, it's almost done. I said it's kind of awkward because some of the songs that are done in a way that almost feel like Top of the Pops music videos from the 70s. So it's that kind of, yeah, I know she's singing to him and he's in another room, but it looks like she's singing to the camera, So that was a little awkward for me. But then again, I mean, the scene in the pub where they're all singing, when they have, when each man has his solo, like it's this bizarre low canted angles, and the filmmakers are really kind of giving this distortion right away about something isn't right about these people. So of course all of it is a subterfuge, and we don't learn until maybe the last 10 minutes of the movie, I will say, what actually the title means of the Wicker Man. But it was different. It was definitely out there. It's almost kind of trippy at times. And, only, I think in the 70s would we have made a film like this. So it was interesting. I don't know if I loved it, but I definitely appreciated how off the wall it was and how different it was from any other horror film coming out back then. But I understand why it has such an odd kind of place in horror history. But so that was The Wicker Man. I recommend everybody should check it out at least once. I'm not quite sure. I might give it some time and rewatch it again to see how I really feel about it. But it was definitely different, and it had some really cool sequences. But it was a strange tale, definitely. All right, so The Wicker Man, that was my movie for last night, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another review on the Horror Academic. Thanks.